Man,
What happened?
What was that? Who was that?
I don't know. Did you recognize him?
No, why would people in a ski mask come into our house and throw firecrackers at us?
I don't know.
How long have we been laying here on the floor?
I don't know.
Like a week?
Has it been a week?
What is today?
I don't even know. Let me find my phone.
Is it time for another podcast? Maybe?
Holy cow, it is. It's Sunday.
All this time we've been laying there just sleeping or whatever?
I guess. Passed out. Must have
man.
been some kind of smoke bomb.
That's crazy.
Weird.
Oh, wow. Well, welcome to this epic disaster
We're here. We might as well do another podcast.
That's right.
Yeah.
I am one of your hosts, Rick,
I'm Sherry.
and we are here every week. Even when people break into our house and, well, I don't know what that was. Did they shoot us? Did they kill?
I'm not hit.
Firecrackers or
So-
something? I heard loud noises, and then I was gone. I was out for a week, apparently.
Yeah. Apparently we both were. Interesting.
Well, I hope your week went much better than ours. We're here doing a podcast today, here the second week of April.
Is it? It is.
It's spring.
That
It's
didn't
spring.
come out right, but yes, it is.
Oh, I forgot to write this down. We're going to do a thing here in a minute. Should I say what we're going to do?
Yeah, go for it.
We're going to build a perfect summer playlist.
Yeah. We're going to start it today. We're not going to do the whole thing.
Yeah, this will last for a few weeks, so we'll talk about it in a few minutes. Because what we need to do first is, for whatever reason, last week I don't remember everything. It's kind of a blur, kind of a blank.
Sure.
We were doing a podcast, and then boom, I don't remember anything. I just woke up, and then here we're doing another podcast,
Yeah.
or unless it's the same. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I think it might be different.
You know,
I have a
it-
little bit of a beard today.
It kind of looks like they released our podcast.
Yeah. I don't know who's doing that.
It's weird.
Well, anyway, we did a live beer review last week, and we didn't give a review. We couldn't. We were
out.
We were wiped out.
We
of
were out, yeah.
everything. So we should probably do that. The beer was a honey orange triple
By New Belgium.
by New Belgium. What did you think of that? Do you remember what you think of it?
I do.
I barely remember.
I do. During the week, I did dream about it. So, hey, look at you.
I hit the garbage can.
You hit the garbage can, and it didn't
That's what
fall
happens
over.
when I get shot in the head. I score.
That's right. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was not sweet, had a lot of flavor, and I love a good triple.
There was a weird kind of musky taste, and I'm assuming that was the honey, kind of a honeycomb in the back of my throat.
Probably.
That I didn't particularly care for. It tasted like another beer that I had before. It might actually have been another New Belgium beer, but I can't remember. So I wasn't overly impressed. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. So I'm going to go again in the middle with the 2.5 stars
All right.
on that one.
I'd probably give that one a 3 myself.
Okay, so we're pretty close.
Yeah.
On how it could be my head wound doing that. I just don't know.
Probably.
But that's what I'm doing today.
So today we're going to try a different beer. Today we are actually drinking Frozen Barrel Imperial Milk Stout.
I'm looking forward to this.
And this is brewed and canned by Southern Barrel Brewing Company in Bluffton, South Carolina. This is a 10% alcohol.
Whoa, baby!
I've actually,
Come to me, mama.
I have to say this out loud. You purchased this beer prior to this happening, but I have actually had this
Really?
already. Yes. They serve this at the Porter here in Atlanta.
Well, the rules are it has to be a beer we haven't had on the show, so you can't have it before. You can drink it somewhere else.
Okay.
You just
okay.
can't have. We can't have had it on the show before.
I have not had this on the show.
There
you
we
missed
go.
again.
This week's did not go in the garbage can. Okay, so let's describe it. I think I went a little out on that. It's kind of a soy sauce look, and it's got it's very dark and kind of not a big head on it.
No, it's it's a milk stout, so it's going to be creamy.
Got a little bit of a sweet smell. Okay, well, right now I'm smelling leather pretty
Because
heavily. New car smell.
yes,
Incense you're burning.
as much
the
as
oil.
my friend Doug hates it, I did go ahead and burn some oil. Smells of leather, and I bet it goes well with this beer.
Man, that's worth getting shot in the head for. Okay, we'll talk about it later.
Yes, we will.
That's going to be a fun to drink through the show. I can't ask you how your week went because I think you were laying on the floor here with me. I believe. I don't know unless you got up and walked around and then came back.
I did not.
But so I don't know if anything happened.
No.
Nothing at all happened in my week. The same situation.
Yeah, we were
wiped
out.
out.
It was all a dream.
Yeah. But if I did, if I wasn't laying on the floor,
Right.
I guess I could tell you some of the things that happened when I wasn't laying on the floor.
Okay, let's hear about it.
Well, first, let's talk about what we were talking about at the very beginning, the building the perfect summer playlist. So this is something we're going to do for the next few weeks. Now, we would like for our listeners to participate. I have discovered that our listeners don't particularly like to participate in our activities. And
They don't
hey,
like to do anything.
That's okay.
It's all right. You don't
have to. You just listen. Only thing you have to do is listen to the podcast.
Yeah.
Other than that, you don't have to participate. We throw some things out for you to participate. If you want to, like we ask people to get out and share our April Fool's meme, which I thought was kind of funny. Not one person did it.
No, they did not.
They didn't at all. So people said, no, we don't want to do that. We don't like it. We don't think it's funny, and get off our back. And that's cool. That's fine. That's cool. We don't want to judge
Okay.
people.
You know, if you didn't like it, you didn't like it.
So occasionally we throw things out for people to participate if they choose to. You can. We would like for you to participate, because what we're going to do is we're going to build the perfect summer playlist. Now, these will be songs. And let's do what? 10 songs?
Sure.
10 songs that you should have on your playlist if you go on a trip.
Okay, but 10 songs doesn't get you very far.
Well, how many should we do? 20?
I mean, I don't know.
How much is like if you buy a CD? People don't buy CDs anymore, but
No,
if
they
you
don't.
bought a CD, if you bought an LP, do people buy LPs? I wonder if people buy LPs more than they buy CDs now, because
Probably.
Vinyl's popular again.
It is. It is getting popular again.
How many do you get? You get more on a CD, and I think it's usually around 20.
It is normally around 20,
Let's
yeah.
just cut it off at 20. Let's say
Okay.
20. It's a nice round number.
Okay.
So we'll go 20 songs. These are the 20 perfect summer songs. These are songs that you have to listen to in the summer. And if you're going on a trip, you want to take these 20 songs with you.
Okay.
So what we'll do is you and I, each show, will contribute a couple. Now,
Okay.
ours don't necessarily mean more than anybody else's. If other people have songs that they just have to have on a trip, they can send them in to us. You can do it through Facebook. You could do it through email. However you want to do it, just send it to us. Just say, this is for the playlist. Now, we might not put your name on it. Well, we might say your name on the air.
Sure.
But when we put it on to vote, it might not have your name. We'll just do a list of the songs. And we would like people to vote on these songs, and we'll rank them. And hopefully, by vote, we will be able to tell which is the number one song.
Sure.
And all the way to number 20.
And then when you're ready to go on your summer road trip, you pop this playlist in and off you go.
So we will not be able to play these on the air.
No, we can't.
Because of licensing and copyright issues. But we can, on our website, we can make the list, and we can put like videos and
Links to videos. Sure.
Links to the songs so people can listen to them if you haven't heard them already.
Sure.
And that way, if you contribute a song and we don't know what it is, maybe you could send us a link. If
So
you
that
don't,
we can hear it?
Yeah, if you don't, we'll look for it.
Sure.
But anyway, we would like for everybody to be able to hear the songs and then vote. And then at the end of the summer, or by summer.
Right. Because it's spring right
Yeah,
now.
we should. When is the first day of summer? Is that June?
June.
June. So in June, that's when we'll do this. We will name, because we're just barely into spring. So we'll do
Right.
this thing through the whole spring. And then we will have the perfect summer playlist. So
I
when you go
agree.
on your vacation, you'll have a playlist thanks to this epic disaster. And we say, you're welcome.
And I will use it as well on my trip in the end of July for my birthday.
Yeah, okay. So let's contribute our two. We'll do you and I will do like 2 or 3 songs each show
Okay.
to start. And then if other people contribute, we'll add theirs. So we'll have a pretty good list on each show.
Right. And then we'll break it down to about 20 total.
Yeah.
So
Through votes. Now, I mean, if we get 100 submissions, we'll list all 100 of them.
Of course.
But then once they're voted, the top 20 will win. And I would recommend that everybody not vote against my songs,
Why is that?
because I think my song should be on the playlist.
Of course you do.
Yeah. So,
Just like everybody else.
but I can't control voting. Okay. So, what do you think? Should we contribute a couple of songs today?
Sure, I have 2 in mind.
I think I could do 2.
I'll tell you, I was not prepared for this, even though
Yeah.
I said I would be.
That was the last minute thing I told you about.
Yeah, I
was
forgot.
like, bring
to,
a couple of songs with you.
and I just completely forgot to think about it. But
Uh-oh.
just now, in thinking about being in the car and driving in the summer, there are
That's what it
2
is.
songs that
Okay.
popped into my head.
It's not Mariah Carey, is it?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
All right, let's have them. Do you want to do one, and then I'll do one, and then you do one, and then I'll do one?
Sure.
Or you could do two, and then I'll do two?
Either way.
Or neither of us do either of them. We just sit and wait.
We could just sit here in
That
silence.
would be very boring.
Let's just sit here in silence for a
No,
second.
I think we should go ahead and
Okay.
do the contributions. All right.
So, Boys of Summer.
Boys of Summer, Don Henley? Mm-hmm. That's a good one. Boys, and now these don't have to mention summer.
They don't have to, but
You
this one does.
just happen to do it.
Right.
So Don Henley, Boys of Summer. Good
Yeah.
song. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so what about you?
All right, I got two as well. Now, here's the deal. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to do all 80 songs.
No, well, neither am I.
I love 80 songs.
I do too.
And that's my era.
Yes.
But I'm going to try to do songs from every era. And but my first two songs are going to be 80 songs.
Okay.
So I got two. I'm not sure how I'm going to rank them, but I'm going to go with the most popular first.
All
Should I
right.
do that?
Sure.
U2, Bullet the Blue Sky.
Okay.
That song just, I feel like you shouldn't even listen to it unless you're just covered in sweat. It's such a nasty, sweaty song.
It's a nasty, sweaty song.
Yeah.
It's perfect for summer.
That's why I think it's just perfect. You know, you're out. It's usually like if you're getting ready to fight somebody, but you don't want to do that in the summer. But I'm just saying, you're driving around. You know, it's hot in the car and everything.
Mm-hmm.
You put that in. It's probably at night. That's the one you want to save towards, you know, the end of the playlist when it starts getting dark outside.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you ready for my next one?
Let's do your next one.
Those two are both from the 80s
Mm-hmm.
that we've got so far. This one is not. This is from the aughts, I believe.
The aughts.
The aughts.
Okay.
This is Mr. Brightside by The
Oh.
Killers.
All right. I know who the Killers are, but I do not know that song.
I bet
so this
you
will be
did
new.
if you heard it. You would know it if you
I
heard
have
it.
a friend who's really into the Killers. All right, Mr. Brightside.
Correct.
Is that one word?
Yes. Mr. Brightside
All right.
by The Killers.
I'm copying this down. That's why there's a little bit of lag here.
Because he can't write very fast.
Okay. My last one. Now, this is one because you know the song. I mean, you know the band anyway, but I don't know if you know the song. It is "Good Work If You Can Get It" by the Bodines.
Good Work If You Can Get It by the Bodines.
Mm-hmm.
I've probably heard it,
Yes, you have.
but I'm not good at putting names to songs.
So we both know the first two. Neither of us know the last ones.
Right.
And if you don't know any of these songs, look them up on YouTube. We will put a link to them on our website.
Yes.
And we'll put a link to the ones that you sent us. You are going to send us some, right?
Of course they are. Of course they are.
And we will build this. So now we have 4 songs to add. Already we have 4.
And you can find these links on our website, which is thisepicdisaster.com.
That's exactly right. And then we're going to put together like a poll that people can vote, and then we'll have the perfect playlist. I don't know why we haven't done
I'm
this. a long time
excited
ago. Me
about
too.
it because I want to put it on my
I
iPod. I still have
always-
an old iPod that I listen
Did you ever
to.
do mixtapes? Did you do a lot
Oh
of those?
yeah, I did. I did the. Okay, I'm
Did you
old
give
enough.
them to people?
I
Did you give them
did.
to like dudes? Did you give them to guys?
I gave them to everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody. But what I would actually, do you remember recording songs off the radio
Oh, yeah.
with a little tape recorder?
Yeah.
Just sitting
And
there
y-
by the speaker,
Yeah, and you
knowing
just
it was
hope,
coming up.
You hope it's one of those songs that the DJ doesn't do an intro or an exit, so that you can get the full song.
Right. But they always did. But the thing about it is back then they used to tell you, next we're listening
Yeah.
to blah, blah, blah. So you could be
Right. Mm-hmm.
ready. They don't do that anymore on the
No,
radio.
you just go to Spotify,
Yeah.
copy it.
Copy it.
Yeah, the old days. I remember that. And then you could just get a CD and you could like pull one of the songs up. That was like the coolest thing ever. Just to think
It was.
I can pull off a single song and then I can make my own CD.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That was incredible. And then you would do that. I don't know. I guess if you have a double tape deck, you could do it on a cassette.
You
if
could.
you're that old, and you could make it.
I am that old.
You could make it as a gift for someone. You could give
Mm-hmm.
it as a gift to family or, somebody you kind of had a crush on.
Mm-hmm.
Do all little love songs and stuff. I remember I did that. A friend of mine. I did. These are like songs that just like affected our lives in some way. Mm-hmm. So we just traded a tape that had different songs that had some kind of meaning or impact. It was kind of fun because it gives us a little insight into somebody's life maybe you didn't know anything about.
Do you remember the last mixtape or mix CD that you received?
I think I do. I don't remember the last I gave. I believe the last I the last one was something I gave rather than something I received. Maybe.
You gave me the last one I received was from you.
Oh yeah.
You gave me a 3-disc.
Oh yeah.
Set.
That was a little much. Well, I can remember you didn't have an iPod at the time, or you were looking for your iPod or something, and you didn't have your CDs. So I was trying to give you some cool music, and yeah. Now you just get them off the internet. You don't need. You don't need that.
Yeah, but it was funny. You made me a CD set.
Yeah.
Almost a box set.
Yeah.
They were all great songs too, and I still have them. I will tell you that the mix CD that I received prior to your gift, was back in 2000 and I'm going to say 7. From a person, and that person gave me all these songs on one CD that reminded them of me, and I still listen to that CD.
Yeah, that's
because it was pretty spot on.
It's pretty cool, and I can remember the one that I gave you. That was the first time you listened to Fluid Ounces, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
and I think the Bodines.
Yeah. Well, Bodine's had some hit songs, so some of them you probably knew, but it might be the first time you heard some of those other songs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. I'm up for it. I think it's great. And I think mixed tapes or mixed lists, I think if you go to SoundCloud, you can actually put together a public list. I don't know if any place else you can do this. In probably you
there
can.
are. You can share playlists with people.
That's what I think we should do is because I'm pretty sure This Epic Disaster has a SoundCloud account. So that would be cool if we build a playlist there that's public. Once we get it actually built, that we either through iTunes or wherever, I don't know, maybe we'll find a place that we could build our own playlist and people can just go and they can download the songs if they want to.
Certainly. Yeah,
I think that'd be awesome. Okay. Well, I'm kind of jazzed about that. So that's our new project for the summer, building the perfect playlist.
For summer.
Please, people,
contribute
for summer playlist. Contribute. Send your contribution. Now, look, don't send like 100.
No,
do like your
that's
top.
not helpful.
5. Maybe 5. Anything between 1 and 5. If you just want to do 1, that's fine.
That's fine.
But we don't want to have a playlist that's a voting list that's like 200 songs
or more.
Yeah, just do like between 1 and 5.
Sure.
Maybe whatever your favorite summer songs are. I still have some. I got some in mind.
I got some good ones in mind, too.
So we'll do those next week.
Okay. So what else is going on now that we're awake?
Nothing.
That's it? We're done? Okay, thanks for listening to the podcast.
I'm drinking my beer.
Okay.
So something happened this week, which I'm very bummed about.
What?
Very unhappy about.
Uh-oh. What?
Okay, so I have a dog. My dog, cool dog, right? I have had her since she's a puppy.
Yeah.
You were around when I first got her.
Yeah.
And got her when she was 11 weeks old. So I've raised her. I've raised this puppy.
You've raised this puppy into a dog.
So, and she's like the sweetest dog ever. Very, very, very high. Energy.
Yeah, she's very excited.
Very excitable.
Sometimes a little anxious.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, she the other day we saw her holding a squirrel. She was carrying around a dead squirrel.
Oh.
And I have seen her, and I was just like, okay, she's like the worst hunter. So there's no way she killed the squirrel. She just found a dead squirrel, and she's carrying it around
in her
with
mouth.
her. Yeah. And so we just, we took it away and we buried it. She was very, very proud of it. She was really happy about it. And so we took it away and tossed it out. And so a couple of days ago, she caught another squirrel.
So she actually caught this one.
She caught it
live.
And she, I don't really want to go into too details, but she didn't kill it.
Okay.
She maimed it. And so it could not get around. It was still alive, but it couldn't move. So it was basically, I think what she had done was just pick it up and sling it around like she does,
Right.
And probably broke the back or spine or whatever. And so it couldn't use its back legs.
Okay.
But everything else on it was fine. So we found it in the backyard, and she was very, very proud of her work.
Of course she was.
And so, but we went back, and so it was very, obviously scared and making noises and stuff. And so I didn't know what to do. What do you do in that situation? Now, here's the thing, because I grew up on kind of a farm, sort of it was a small farm, a very rural area. And so I grew up around animals, and I grew up around sick animals. I can remember, this is so ironic, but my grandfather used a walker when he was old. He couldn't walk.
Was he one of the sick animals you grew up around?
Well, he couldn't get around without his walker. He had to have it. And I can remember at one point the chickens that we had developed some kind of thing so where they couldn't walk. They were like crippled. They had like...
That's so weird.
Yeah. And it was like something that affected several of the chickens. And I'll never forget my grandfather standing out there with a shovel, banging these chickens on the head to kill them because they couldn't walk.
Oh my gosh.
While he's on his walker. I was like, shouldn't someone do that to you, Grandpa?
Because you can't walk either.
So, I mean, I there's a certain amount, when you're raised with livestock, you see a lot of things, whether it's animals going off to slaughter or having to actually slaughter. I mean, I watched my grandfather chop chickens' heads off, which was pretty traumatic. But then they plucked the feathers and we had a great chicken dinner. So, but that's how he grew up. He definitely grew up where they slaughtered their own cows and pigs and whatever for their food.
Sure.
And I was, my food came from the grocery store. What are you talking about?
Right.
So anyway, I'm not the kind that would go out and bang a squirrel on the head with a shovel to get it out of its misery. But I felt like something needed to be done, and I didn't know what to do. And so I just kind of called around and tried to figure out what to do about that. And we couldn't find anybody who would help us out. So basically what we did is we got a little, we have a cat carrier. We got a cat carrier box. We stuffed it with towels. And we put the squirrel in there with some water and some sunflower seeds. And I put it in my art studio. And I was just like, I have to figure out now what to do with it. And so it stayed in there all night. And in the next morning it had died.
Yeah. I imagine it had, for a number of reasons. When you break your spine, it's possible that not only can you not walk or use your back legs, but you also can no longer use your bowels or your bladder.
Yeah, and I figured it might have had some other interior damage and maybe some of the organs or whatever. And so I knew it was a matter of time that it was going to happen, but I could tell I was scared. But I was like, I'm not the kind that could just hit it in the head to kill it or whatever. So I didn't know what to do, but I just thought, well, if it's going to die, at least I could give it a peaceful death.
Okay.
And I could put it into a situation where maybe it just sleeps away and then is dead. That's basically what happened. I went and checked on it that morning, and he looked like he was trying to get food or something. I don't know. He was kind of around the food bowl. And then I went back later, and he was all stretched out, looked very, very peaceful. So apparently he laid down and then just kind of passed away.
He just laid down and died.
And it's one squirrel. One squirrel in the world of squirrels and animals. One. And I remember, I think my wife posted something on Facebook, and the responses that we got, some people said, oh, I don't like those. They're just tree rats or whatever. And I just thought,
that's not cool.
Well, even if it is, I mean, yeah, they're rodents, but I don't go out killing rats either. Rats have, they have a right to live. Not in my house. I don't want a rat in the house. But I mean, if they're out in nature, that's what they're for.
Yeah, you don't just kill them while you run into them out in the wild.
But I just started thinking, I feel like I wish sometime I was one of those people that just, because I know a lot of people. I grew up with people, and I've had friends who they would actually, when they're driving, they would steer toward the squirrel to run over it, God. Sport.
No, I hate that so much.
And just the response from people, like just when we were trying to say this squirrel happened, and some people that were just like, I would have just killed it, or I'd have squished its head. Or there's a lot of people who just have this kind of attitude that, I would not show compassion on any little animal. Are you kidding me?
Right.
Sometimes I wish.
What if that was an infant? A human infant?
Well, sometimes I just wish I had that in me. I just wish that I could be able to not care that much.
I don't wish I had that in me.
Well, you and I are animal people.
Yeah.
I mean, we're both kind of on the same wavelength there. I grew up eating meat. I ate meat for 31 years.
So did I.
And then when I was 31, I made the decision to not do that anymore. And it was a personal decision. I don't judge other people.
Right.
I can have dinner with someone eating steak. I mean,
Sure.
but, a lot of people don't understand that. It took a long time before people wouldn't sit in front of me going, "This meat is so good. Don't you wish you had some?"
I know.
And I was like, no. I mean, if I
had
wanted some, I would go get it.
I had to explain that to an old boss of mine because he and my other coworkers used to do that to me all the time. They'd be like, "Oh, juicy burger," when we were out having lunch or whatever.
Yeah.
And these were all very upstanding people who didn't drink. And I said, okay, well, what if I was sitting here in front of you having a shot going, "Ooh, don't you wish you could have some alcohol?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, you're not drinking alcohol because you can't.
Yeah.
You're not drinking alcohol because you choose not to. I'm like, I could eat that steak if I wanted to.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
It's a choice.
So you sitting here doing this teasy thing.
I'm making you want it.
It's not making me want
No.
your burger anymore. It's making me want to punch you in the face.
Well, I'm a carnivore. I grew up carnivore. I'm still a carnivore. I haven't eaten meat in almost 25 years, I guess, or more. But every time I pass a Kentucky Fried Chicken, I could go in and eat the entire buffet. It's still in me. It will always be in me, and it's a choice I made personally for animal rights purposes, animal rights reasons. But I'm not an activist. I'm not an animal.
Right.
I'm not a PETA activist. I do what I do for myself, and I make the decisions and the things for myself. I understand some people need to hunt. I really I got really attached to these Alaska shows where I'd watch them catch their own food, and it really impressed me because they would shoot a moose or some animal, and then after they did it, they would even have a little bit of silence there to thank the moose for giving his life.
Yes.
And I was like, if I was going to do that, I think that's the approach I would take. You show respect. There's a cycle that has to happen in nature where apparently you can't live unless something dies, whether it is lettuce or a pig.
Right.
But for me anyway, I've gone for almost as long not eating meat as I did eating meat, but I have to have meat substitute. I'm not one of those people that can eat a bean burger. I got to have a burger that tastes like meat.
Okay.
I got to have fake meat products, or
Right.
I don't know that I could do this. But still, it's just the compassion. I just can't. I could not. I mean, that little squirrel. I just think, what would I want someone or something to do to me if I was in that situation? And I just can't imagine being in that situation. You were just attacked by a dog. And I know they don't have the same reasoning that we have.
Of course.
But you're just attacked by a dog. You don't have use of your legs that you just had. And you're scared. You don't know what's going to happen. And you're now prey. A hawk could take you away and rip your head off or whatever.
Right.
So what do you do?
Do you just leave him outside in the cold to die?
I don't know if I had a gun. If I was a gun person, maybe I'd go and... I mean, you could do it. You can get it over that quick.
Sure.
Get them out of their misery that fast. They
Sure.
don't know. Maybe that's the thing to do instead of letting them live long. All I could think of was keep them safe, keep them warm, let them be comfortable for a while. And, maybe it can be argued that putting them out of their misery immediately would have been much better than letting them live for another 12 hours in pain. I don't know. What do you do? What's the thing?
I don't know. I guess you just have to kind of follow your instincts in that moment.
I can't do it. Sometimes I just wish I didn't have that compassion. Sometimes I wish I didn't feel that towards other life. It would be so much easier if you could just weed out those that are weaker.
So if you didn't carry around so much empathy, you'd be a happier person.
Don't you think? Don't you think that people who have a lot of empathy and have a tougher life than some people, even with human beings, you see it a lot now. It just seems like a lot of people are just like, get rid of the weak, just crush them. The strong should survive, and that's sort of the attitude now.
It is kind of the attitude.
It's just like the bullies rule,
and
now.
It makes me sad.
It's really sad.
Yeah, it makes me very sad.
But I don't know. I can't click into that mentality anymore. I think there was a time, when I was a teenager, I went to a bullfight in Mexico City, and I watched them, and they slaughter the bull in front of you.
Yeah,
it's cruel.
Yeah,
through the whole thing. I mean, a little bit at a time. There's putting spears into it over and over and over until it's just bloody, and it just gives up. It just takes all of its strength out. That was one of the most exciting things I'd ever seen when I was a kid. Now, I can't imagine I can't even think about it. It hurts so much to do that. It just seems cruel.
It's very cruel. Bullfights are extremely cruel.
And I feel like maybe you could get through life so much better and with less pain if that kind of stuff didn't bother you. What do you think?
I mean, I have wished that I didn't have so much empathy and compassion for other people. I have wished
animals.
Yeah. I have definitely wished that there were times in my life where I wished I didn't feel anything. Like I would be like, please, universe, please make me a sociopath. I could do well as a sociopath. I could do really, really well.
But if an old person is going through pain and everything, I mean, would you be able to assist them in suicide?
Yes. That's the thing is they can tell me, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to die. And my empathy side will say, okay, then I want to help you die.
But there are so many people who say that in their life, even like teenagers. It's like, I want to die. And this is like, a lot of times it's like, if you make that decision right then, it's done. It's final. We're on death again. Mm-hmm. It's final. But and I don't know, maybe when you're old and physically you're not going to get better, maybe that's something to take into consideration. But it's just like your decision that you want to die now. You might have a different thought a week from now or a month from now, and you're going to make a decision that doesn't give you that opportunity ever again. I would have a hard time doing that.
Yeah, but you're not going to spend your entire life, even if you only have 6 months more to live, based on might or maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got a terminal disease, that's one thing. You're just not going to get better. Mm-hmm. There are certain conditions when I can imagine maybe stopping is the way to go. I don't know. In my head, I can't ever imagine coming to that point.
I think especially if you're elderly and you've lived your life and you've had good experiences and bad, and you are at stage 4 cancer, for instance, with no possibility of a cure, like they're not even working on it, and you say, I've only got 6 months more to go, but it seems like an eternity and I just don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I get that. It's like, why go through 6 more months of this and make my loved ones go through 6 more months of this when I can just be done?
Yeah.
I mean, that makes perfect sense to me.
It does. There's some reasoning to it. But at the same time, I would have a hard time doing it. I don't know that I could do it. I was raised with people who went hunting. I try not to judge hunters. I understand there are some situations when you just got to do it. There's some situations when you want to do it. It's not something I do, and I try not to judge. But I don't know how people do it. I don't know how you can. If you're doing it for meat, I get it. If you're doing it for food, if you're doing it for sport, if you're going to Africa and shooting a giraffe,
just as a trophy,
what the hell?
Why?
I mean,
why?
That makes no sense to me.
No, that doesn't make any sense at all. There's no logic.
But I don't know. Is there a feeling of power over the weak? Is that what it is?
When in reality, you're not more powerful than that animal. That
no, you have a gun.
Is much more powerful than you.
Let's go one-on-one.
You just have a gun.
It's really powerful.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's anyway. I don't want to go into it because it starts coming off as a little bit judgy, and I'm not trying to judge. It's just that I feel like I always like to try to be in a situation where I can put myself into other people's place when making decisions. I like to be able to say, "Oh, I understand how you can come from that side, from that point of view." Even though I wouldn't, or I don't agree with it, or I couldn't do it, I want to be able to understand how someone does. And there are some things I just don't. And when you're dealing with having to actually, putting an animal out of its misery is one thing, but taking pleasure out of doing it is another.
Completely different thing.
And I guess that's where I have the problem.
Yes.
It's just like if the people that's just like, I pride myself, I would be able to do that. No problem at all. I don't know. I couldn't do that. I couldn't be that person.
I have a problem with the meat industry as a whole. But let me tell you why. It's not that they're slaughtering animals for food. That is the way that we live these days. That kind of has to happen because not everybody goes out and kills their own food.
Right.
So I get that. But from everything I've seen and read, they treat those animals like garbage prior to killing them.
Yeah, and I've seen videos of it, and that's not every place.
It's not every place, but a lot of places.
Well, I think if you work, and I'm sorry if I interrupt you, but if you work in that situation, you get immune to it or desensitized to it.
Yeah, but enough to pick up a lamb by its back leg and bust it off? No.
I couldn't do that.
No. And there's no point to it.
No.
Because now that animal probably could get infected and it wouldn't cost or wouldn't get you any money anyways.
I think the point to it is that in your mind, when you work in that situation, you have to see animals as objects, or you couldn't do it. If you saw them as life, or you saw them as consciousness, or you saw them as a sentient being, you could not do it. So you have to be able to make them an object. And part of making them an object so that you could feel comfortable doing that is treating them like an object. Just don't treat them humanely because they're just objects.
They're just garbage.
But I mean, that's the way, slaves used to be treated like that.
Yes.
Anybody who was repressed or people who was under somebody else's power, they've always been treated like that. And then it's when situations change, I don't know. I think we're at a point where it's going to start coming off as being judgy, which I don't want to do. But it's a good time to talk about this because you and I had the same experience.
Okay.
You just told me you had it, and I had it last week.
What?
The Impossible Burger.
Yes.
We went. Okay, so the Impossible Burger. If you're not familiar with what that is, you could look it up. But there's a company that has invented a burger which supposedly tastes exactly like a meat burger, but there's no meat in it. It will actually bleed. I don't know the purpose of having it bleed, but
visual kind of representation of something. That. I don't know.
So I had it for the first time last week. You had it yesterday. Is that what you said?
Yes, last night.
And your review?
My review is quite good.
Me too.
I really enjoyed it. For the first couple of bites, I thought they screwed up my order. They gave me a burger.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it wasn't as greasy. So it was different because I was looking at my companions' burgers too, and they did get meat burgers.
Yeah.
And they were indeed different. So I thought, wow, this is pretty good. This is a pretty good representation of what a meat burger should taste like.
Yeah, and I've had veggie burgers for quite a while, and I like them just fine. But this is more like what you would like ground beef.
Yes,
it's more like that. Now, the one that I had first, I've had two different kinds. One I had at a restaurant, which was really, really good, and the other one I cooked myself. And my biggest critique of it was way too greasy.
Right.
So greasy. But I think they make them so you'll make them on the grill, and the grease is like a grease from a real burger.
It drips.
It drips and makes smoke come up. So I think they're made to go on a grill like that. But the one I had tasted like there was something about it, and I don't know what it was, that was slightly off in the taste.
Which one? The one that you made or the one that you had at the restaurant?
The one at the restaurant, like the Impossible Burger.
Okay.
We had it at the same place.
Okay.
And it wasn't bad. It was just something that was just slightly off from being able to say this is an actual burger. So there's that, but it wasn't bad in any way. In fact, I would say...
We can tell you where we had these. We had these at the Grindhouse.
In Atlanta.
In Atlanta.
I would say it's definitely my top two veggie burger that I've had.
What's your top one?
I still give it to Red Robin.
But Red Robin just uses Boca Burgers.
It's Boca Burgers with cheese, but it's good.
They cook them right.
It's so good. I just love it. But this is close. This one is close, and it might pass it at some point. So yeah.
Yeah.
But that's good. And so again, we don't judge. We'll eat lunch with you if you have a steak.
Well, I know people that do eat meat, and they still like some of these meat substitute options from time to time because even when I did eat meat, one of my favorite things to do was get a garden burger from this little restaurant I used to go to.
Sure. Sometimes they're great.
Loved garden burgers. And I'm talking about the original, like the one that was grainy.
Yeah, mushy.
Yeah, and I loved those. And it was a different taste experience. I wasn't saying this tastes just like a hamburger because that thing didn't taste anything like a hamburger. It was not supposed to.
Right.
It was just in the shape of a burger.
Yeah. Well, my whole vegetarian life has been trying to find vegetarian food that tastes like real meat. Because, like I said, I'm still a freaking carnivore. I like the meat, but I won't eat it.
The one thing you can't find, pulled pork.
You can't. I have found some stuff that tastes, some barbecue stuff that is kind of sinewy, whatever you call it, stringy, kind of like, and it's close. It's pretty close. The nuggets, the chicken nuggets from Earth Fare, that's the closest thing to fried chicken I've ever found.
That's true.
The tofu chicken fried tofu.
Yeah.
You could tell it's tofu, but it tastes like chicken.
Okay.
It doesn't have the texture of chicken.
Right.
It has the taste of chicken.
Right.
Several burgers that I've had, you can't tell the difference between that and a burger, like a cafeteria style burger, soy burgers or whatever they call them. The burger, pre-made burger patties. Now, ground beef you could, but now with the Impossible Burger. But there's, you can't get a thick, juicy steak. You can't get you can't get a big fried chicken.
And you can't get like good crispy bacon. That's not going to happen.
Not really. No, you're not going to get a pork chop. But that's just a sacrifice if you're going to do it. You just got to. And then, if you're not, I guess you're lucky.
I am waiting for the day when I can go and buy cloned meat.
Yeah, it'll happen some point.
I know that it will.
It will.
They're already creating something like it. And right now, the best consistency they can come up with, I just watched a documentary on this. The best consistency they can come up with is something that you have to use like you would use ground beef. Because they can't get the consistency of, say, a steak. That's
like a muscle.
They're way off. Yeah. Right now, it's just kind of something you might make sloppy joes with.
Yeah.
Or you could even make a burger at this point. But that's about as close as they've gotten.
They'll do it. They'll make it.
Oh, I know.
I wanted to go on a around the country trip. Because again, I've been vegetarian for a while. The only time I've purposely eaten meat since I've been vegetarian was when I had haggis last year.
Right.
It was just a little bit, maybe like a spoonful.
Sure.
I just wanted to taste haggis. I've never had it before. So that was the first time and the last time, I guess. But I've had this thing in my mind where it's just like, maybe for like a few months, I will jump off of the vegetarian bandwagon and I'm going to go on a trip around the country. And what I want to do is I want to have seafood in Maine. I want to have a steak in Oklahoma.
Okay.
I want to have fried chicken in wherever, Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? Go where it's going to be
the best.
The best you can possibly have. So, but by the time I die, I could say I had the best.
Okay. Well, let me just.
Where would I get a pork bacon? Where's a good place for bacon?
I don't know. Texas? I don't know.
Get alligator in Florida.
So if you're going to do seafood, please do it right and do it in Alaska. Don't.
Yeah, that's true. Do Alaska seafood.
Atlantic seafood is a completely different animal than Pacific seafood.
So you got to do both.
You could do both. Right. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to do it, but I thought about it. And
we can't afford to do it. There's that.
But to have I just want to be able to say I had the best steak ever.
That would be in Vegas.
I know, but I won't say that now. I don't know that I've ever had the best steak ever.
True.
I watch Guy Fieri, and I watch a lot of Guy Fieri, and I used to watch Man vs. Food all the time.
Oh yeah, with the monster burgers and things.
I think we need to try to get Adam Richman on this show.
That would be fun.
Yeah,
because I have a lot of questions for him.
I used to watch every freaking day.
Yep.
I watched him
and
Guy Fieri back to back, nonstop, all day long.
Yep.
And I would be like, okay, I can't ever eat steak, so I'm going to watch these guys eat steak. I think he's vegetarian now, Adam Richman. I think. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I think he did for a while anyway. But watching other people do it. I mean, the worst is Andrew Zimmern, eating like
everything.
Fish eyes and what.
Everything.
I mean, he opened up a cobra and ate the beating heart of a cobra, for crying out loud.
That's a little too cavemanish for me.
Is.
That's not really my thing. But I will tell you, I have a lot of friends in Alaska. Most of my friends in Alaska are not hunters. Some of them are. And again, I'm not judging them. That's what they do. That's their thing. And they eat and use all of the meat that they kill. And they supply it to their friends and family.
Sure, you do that in Alaska.
One of the things when you're out moose hunting or caribou hunting is that you do, if you kill a caribou, you eat the heart that night.
Oh. Oh, yeah. That's the thing that I saw on the Alaska show is they always say the heart is like the best thing of the caribou. That's what everybody wants. Wow.
Because it's not as good after that.
Well, it's fresh blood in there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Do we have any audience left?
Well, all we talk about is death. We talk about morbidity. We talk about poop.
That's part of the disaster, folks.
We
I'm
talk about
sorry.
blood. What's funny is I was getting a massage, and
From a dead person? No.
I just found a new masseuse, and she says, "So, I listened to your podcast," and I just kind of tensed up. I'm like, "Oh God!"
She's like, "I can feel you getting tense now."
I said, "Which one? Which one did you listen to? Which episode?" She said, "I listened to the Pooping in Heaven episode."
Oh boy, that one's fun.
That was like the March 4th episode or something, and she said she liked it. She liked it. I was like, well, if you like that one, you got to listen to the Cat Balls episode because that one was pretty good.
I like the last one. That was my favorite. Welcome to April.
So yes, this is a disaster. We had no visions of grandeur that it would be anything but a disaster. So.
I think we will always talk about death or whatever is inappropriate. I mean, not that we do it on purpose. We
just end up there.
Here's the thing: if you knew how we planned, you would realize we don't plan. We just talk. We come up with a few little things, sometimes some things that we can read, and some extra little, regular features or whatever. But for the most part, we just talk about things, and it always goes down the same.
That's
it's like sex or pooping or dying. I don't know why.
That's where we end up.
It's why our lives are a disaster.
This is how we're friends. This is why we're friends.
I don't know why. Didn't you have something you wanted to talk about today? Was that today? Is that something you got planned?
Well, actually, we could start on it today. And mind you, okay, everybody's familiar on the internet. You see these little memes come through on your Facebook feed or something that says, type this into your, text, and then just keep hitting the middle button, like use the predictive text to come up with something silly, a silly saying. And I thought we should do that on the air. So on the air, like we're live, but just so that, because it makes me giggle. I mean, it's stupid, it's silly, but I do them all, and I laugh out loud every time to myself, and then I keep doing them to get other reactions.
Let me ask you now: is this based on things that you've typed in before? Does that what changes the outcome? Do you know? Otherwise, it would be the same for everybody. I mean,
I imagine it is, because there have been times where, like, I know certain people who drink a lot of beer. A lot of their predictive text algorithms will end up having something to do with beer.
Yeah.
People who text a lot for work.
Okay.
They will have a lot of work-related things come up while they're doing the predictive text. Mine says a lot of things like you and can't. I don't know why, but it's like I guess I text excuses more than anything.
Oh.
So you get a lot of excuses in my predictive text.
Probably a lot of cursing.
Actually, it has never.
I bet it does automatically
it does
do that.
ass. It does ass.
Ass?
Yeah.
I do ass.
You do ass. Actually.
Did I just say that on the air?
You did.
I don't do ass.
So if I were to start one.
So okay, so what if, like, I give you a sentence,
yes,
and then you do it. You do the predictive text.
Okay. Like, I just did one now.
So
and what I started it with was tell my grandpa I.
Okay.
And then I just kept hitting the middle button, and it came out with tell my grandpa I am just getting back from him now.
Oh.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either. All right, so I would say, here's one I would do. I think my boobs are...
Okay, I'm typing. I think my boobs are... I think my boobs are pretty much better now.
Oh, that's good. They weren't feeling well for a while, but...
Actually, they're a little sore right now. Because,
I don't know.
They're a little tender.
I don't have anything to do with that. I maybe last week or had something. I don't know.
Okay, now I want you to do that.
I don't know how to do it. I don't even have my phone here.
Oh, okay. I don't think you have your predictive text on, but we will. What we'll do is we'll get Rick set up on his phone with his predictive text next week. So what would be great is to get some good beginnings of sentences from folks.
So maybe people could send us some stuff we want to do.
And we'll come up with some of our own, just in case you don't, which I know you don't always want to participate out there, and that's fine. You don't have to. But you can, if you'd like to, send us some beginnings of predictive texts, either things you've already seen online or things that you come up with yourself. Just hit us up and let us know what you want us to start our predictive text with, and then we will read them out loud.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun.
It'll be fun too. I think so. So we're getting ready to have to wrap this up, but I wanted to mention a couple things.
Okay,
I'm going to save this right here for next time.
Okay.
So we talked about, this is maybe 1 or 2 episodes ago, we talked about stress, and we were talking about stress, and we did a whole show on stress, but then we didn't talk about how you handle stress, how you relieve stress.
We might have mentioned a couple of things.
I'm not sure we did. I think you said you do. Oh, you said you masturbate. That's why we didn't, because we got off on masturbating.
That's
Don't
right.
we all get off on
We do, unless, you're having a bad night.
Yeah, but I figured we could, and who doesn't want to do that? But I'm just saying, let's talk about some other ways that we can relieve stress. I have been really stressed the past month. I've had some stress. So I'm trying to deal with stress on a regular basis, looking for ways to deal with stress. So that's one reason we did the stress show.
Was to get some of your stress out.
Well, to talk about stress and how it affects your life. And then now let's talk about
how to relieve some of that stress.
Exactly.
Other than masturbation, because we already covered that.
That's one way.
I believe getting massages is very good to help relieve stress.
Is that long term? I feel like that would relieve your stress for like an hour or two.
No, it's actually quite helpful because it gets you more in tune with your physical body and gets you out of your head. And that benefit lasts for several days.
Yeah.
Because then you're feeling your body. I like deep tissue massages, so I can feel that massage for a few days after, I mean, I don't want to be bruised afterwards. That's, kinky, and I'm not really into that, that type of kink. But I want to be able to feel like that muscle got worked. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I just I have a problem with people touching me.
Oh, see, I don't.
I know. I don't like being manipulated unless it's my wife.
Right, right.
But just like so my wife goes to this dude on a regular basis and gets massaged. And so she begged me to do it. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I just don't. And so we were there and my back was hurting. And so this guy's like really spiritually, he's into like spiritual massage or whatever. So they both kind of talked me into doing it. And I was like, okay, I'll do it, whatever. And so I got up there. And he was good. I mean, he was really good. I have some uncomfortable things about that. I just don't like it. And then, but I have to admit, it felt good, and it seemed to do some good for a little while.
Absolutely.
I mean, I will go to a chiropractor and easy, and they do the same thing.
They manipulate you way more than a masseuse does.
I have no problem with that. But the massage thing, I don't know what it is. I just don't like it as much.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it a lot. Here's one thing about my current masseuse. She's really good. We're going to work on the pressure thing because some places she could go a bit deeper. Like I said, I like the deep tissue massage.
Right.
Yeah, we're still feeling it out. She's in a new space. I'm new to her, so it's different. But I think it's going to work out. I'm going to go, indefinitely.
Yeah.
At least once a week. For an hour and a half. I find that does it for me. Now, I will also put a caveat to that, which is I'm not currently in a relationship. I'm not currently sexually active with anybody, and I'm not currently physically affectionate with anybody. So there's no human touch in my life.
So it's just something that meets that qualification?
It also helps to meet that qualification. And it's not kinky, it's not sexual, it's not any of that. It's just being touched by another human being is something that we all need as human beings. It's a socialization that even, primates do it all the time. They groom each other, they touch each other. And if you go for long periods of time without having that, it can cause a whole separate type of stress.
I want to visit this in a totally different podcast.
Okay.
But I'm going to mention this because we're in the same area. But I've always felt like and I know this is controversial, but we could talk about it later.
Okay.
I think there's a place for massages with a happy ending.
I think there might be.
And I'm not saying for me, but I'm just saying the same way you're talking about having that physical touch, that physical need, people who don't get that. What harm could it do? It's not, especially if everything is just touch. If you're not actually having, sex or anything like that. There's not going to be any kind of germs. There's not going to be any kind of STDs. There's not going to be any kind of danger to it. I feel like there is a mental, emotional, and possibly a social benefit from it. And we can talk about that in another podcast.
Okay, let's do that. I'll come up with some thoughts on the matter because I'm already generating thoughts as to why it would be good and why it would be bad.
I've never had one like that, and I don't think that I ever would. It doesn't interest me. Well, It does interest me, but but I would never do it. I just don't think I would ever do it. And I can get it for free at home.
That's right.
But it's just, I feel like that there are people in this world who could benefit from that. And when you think about the different types of people who have different problems and different who don't have any kind of human touch or social contact or whatever, whether it's age, whether they have physical disabilities, whether that whatever, that doesn't mean that they will never have desires.
Right. And we can delve
It's
into that a
little
little
safer.
bit. We can delve into that a little bit because there are professions in which this is a thing already. Some of them are frowned upon, not all of them. The ones that are not frowned upon tend to be a lot more expensive.
Okay.
Like a sex therapist, if
Yeah.
you will. But again, that's all about the sex.
Well, let's get in. We need to do a sex show, another sex show. Did we already do a sex show? We need to do another one.
Okay.
And to be honest, I want people to start sending in their sex questions, and we need to start answering their sex questions. We're not professionals, but we've had a lot of sex.
We have.
Lots
We've
and
had a
lots
lot
of sex.
sex.
So I think that we're able to answer your question.
Okay. I mean, we're going to qualify ourselves
That's
to
right.
be your sexperts.
That's right. I would say that I have 3 ways which I relieve stress. Number one is, and I've been doing this a lot recently, art.
Yes.
Making art, making stuff, just concentrating on art.
On the creativity.
Exactly. I tend to do more art when I'm stressed. Not always, but certainly when I have the time, I'll just do a lot of it. But it's nice getting, I don't know, just starting off with nothing and ending up with a new something that you brought into this world is kind of very cool.
Sure.
To be able to say this piece never existed before I decided to make it.
Right. And now I've made it, and here it is.
Yeah. And somebody might want to hang it in their house. That's pretty cool. And just the whole process, I was talking to my wife yesterday. I was like, can you imagine how many artists are in this world making art every day? Millions and millions and millions of art pieces. There's no way people can buy that and put in their house.
No.
Some of it ends up in Goodwill. Some of it ends up
In the
trashed.
garbage. Some of it ends up getting burnt.
You're lucky if it ever goes on. And so really, as an artist, you have to think, just the important thing is just the process, not that it's ever going to be sold or anything
Right,
like that.
right.
Oh, I was going to tell you.
And that's why a lot of artists will paint over prior pieces because, A, they don't have other materials to use at the time, perhaps.
I have trouble with that.
And B, they, it was good. It fit me at the moment. It doesn't really fit me right now. I'm going to paint over it. I know that you don't do it a lot.
When I do a painting, I feel like that represents my time at that point in my life. No matter what comes out of it, it's like, this is that.
Right. And you have a hard time letting go of that.
I don't want to get rid of that.
Right.
There have been some times when I've done some really, really bad paintings that I've just gone like, I'm going to cover up that. But it usually takes me like 2 or 3 years before I reach that decision. It'll stay around for a long time. But
Wow. Okay.
It's hard to do. But I have done a painting and I put it away for a while and brought it back out and worked on it again.
Sure.
And maybe it turns into something else. But yeah, I have a hard time. I used to have a hard time. I used to write poetry, and I didn't like correcting my poems. It's like, this is how I felt at that time. I just wanted to keep it like that. My other way is meditation.
Yes.
The problem with meditation, though, is it's hard to meditate when you are stressed.
It's very difficult.
You're stressed.
Yes.
How can you calm yourself? So that's a struggle and a battle. And it took me literally 40 years to even be able to kind of figure that out.
Well, and personally, I find in those instances where I am extremely stressed and I know that I could really benefit from some meditation, is I will use a guided meditation.
Yeah.
Because at that time, or in those instances, it's not you having to guide yourself through this meditation because you're so stressed you can't. So you have another voice there, whether it be recorded or whatever, to guide you through the relaxation. And that is extremely helpful for me. I do have a couple of different guided meditation apps on my iPad that I utilize.
Well, that's my third in a way. Along my third is, and this is the one that I've really been overdosing on. You know what I'm going to say.
I do. It's ASMR.
ASMR videos. On YouTube, I watch 60 a day.
Or listen to.
Both. I would say maybe I'm close to obsession with that. And
I would agree.
I want to do an ASMR show here. We've talked about it before, and I want to do an ASMR. I want to get somebody who does. I want to get one of the ASMR artists. Mm-hmm. That's what they call it, ASMR artists, I guess, to be on here to talk about it. So we need to do that. But that. So what I've started doing is I will put on those videos and I'll work. I'll sit at my computer and I'll design because I do design work. And so I'll do that while that's on. It's the most relaxing thing in the world. I mean, seriously. And it just, I don't know what I would do if I didn't have that. If you're not an ASMR person, do a little research on it.
I have a coworker who he is higher tiered IT guy.
Yeah.
He does configurations. He also does some troubleshooting on some like big weird problems, but mostly configuring and what have you. And he has ASMR on all day, every day in the background while he does that.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand it because personally, ASMR to me makes me uncomfortable.
My wife wants to kill them. And this is the problem that I have. Since I discovered what ASMR is, I've had ASMR, the
Ability
sensation
to appreciate it, sure.
Since I was a kid. I've understood what it was since I wasn't with you, was I? When I first found out about it. Yeah, I think that's true.
In about 2010, 2011.
Yeah, and you couldn't stand it. I was just like, look what I found. You're going to love it. And you were like, no. And then my wife now can't stand it. I dated a bunch of people that couldn't stand it. No one seems, I have one friend who understands it. No one understands it and can get it. But to me, it's the most relaxing thing. I will almost get hypnotized from it. And that's what's great about it. But there have been times when I've had to stop work to actually just meditate because it works so well. So those are my stress techniques. I will listen to ASMR at night before I go to bed or while I'm in bed or during the night or whatever. I'll do that. But I've also started listening to it during the day.
Yeah.
There's an app now.
An ASMR app.
There's an ASMR app called Tingles.
Okay.
And you can download that. The problem with watching these videos on YouTube is you have to leave the video on it won't go dim.
Right.
So you have to leave the video on your phone and it just drains the battery.
Sure.
But this app, you could actually listen to it. You don't have to watch the videos. It's awesome. So so many people are on there. There's some bad ASMR out there, but there's some people who just do it so well.
Sure.
But I want to do a show and then I'll tell you some of my favorite artists.
Okay.
But I would like to get somebody on who does it and they can talk about it.
That'd be great.
If you're somebody out there and you're listening to the show, contact us.
Please do, because we want to know. We'll watch your stuff first. But
yeah, I don't know who does it around here in Atlanta. I know where a couple of the popular artists where they live, and they don't live, close by. So somebody from Atlanta's got to do it, I guess. I don't know.
I noticed the other day that you posted something about an ASMR video that you were watching where they used one of those mermaid pillows.
Yes.
And you loved that.
Yeah.
And I actually own one of those mermaid pillows. And I was thinking I should bring that and give that to Rick. And then I thought he would never do anything else.
It's fun. I would play around with it. I just like watching someone, and the person who has the video is one of my favorites.
Okay.
So it's just one of those I just like really just zone out. That's a train. We got a train coming by. Train sirens there all day long.
I couldn't figure out what it was at first. Okay.
Well, that's part of the thing with the ASMR is just being able to take normal, regular objects that are around the house and pulling out the sounds.
Right.
There are some people who are really, really triggered by sounds, which I am. I mean, like if you think about if you go to a restaurant and you really love the smells and you're into the smells of everything. Or even like if you go to an art museum and there's so many colors or you love colorful things.
Sure.
ASMR is that for people who are just into sound, who get triggered. Sound somehow registers in their brain on a different level and it becomes a physical sensation.
Right.
When I was a kid, it's usually like people whispering, like when a child, when a little 1, 2, 3, 4-year-old whispers things in your ears. I'm going to tell you a secret. And they're whispering a secret and your body starts tingling. That's ASMR. So when I used to, when I was in school, the teachers would pull me, especially math teachers, would pull me aside to explain, especially because I didn't understand, and they would have to explain it, and I would zone out. I would just, but their voice,
because you would just be listening to them.
I could not move. It would be hypnotized, and it was horrible. But it's just, it's a sensation. It's
so you didn't do well in math as well?
Oh, I was horrible in math, but I was great in ASMR. So, I mean, it's like, I just loved it when my teacher would pull me aside and explain it to me, because it was just like, I would get, it's like this internal massage. And they call it, there's actually a documentary about it called The Braingasm. And that's what they call it sometimes. It's like your brain is having an orgasm because of the sound.
Right.
And I don't know how to explain it other than that. And if you've never had it I think everybody to a certain extent has had it.
I have had it a little bit. There's one sound so far that does it for me, and it's the way people say a specific sound combination, letter combination, a CR, like in the word cream, or crucible or whatever, CR.
Yeah.
If it comes out of their it comes out of their mouth a certain way,
that's it.
I just look at that person. Like I can't help myself. I'm just like, damn. But that is it. That is all that I've ever had with that.
There is a girl who does ASMR videos, and I was watching one of her videos. She's a Russian, and she went on a trip to Hong Kong. And she says the word Hong Kong like Honig Konig. And when she says it, I literally almost explode. And I don't know how to explain it, but just the way she says that and pronounces it. So I understand about the C sound so much. There's just, and that's what it is. It's just, there's something about a sound that can trigger a reaction inside you. I totally get it. But anyway, we've gone on this for so long, but those are my stress techniques. Those are what I've been doing a lot. I'm not sure I know of another one.
The only other one that I do currently is at night. I have an app on my iPad that it's a really great app. I think it's called Calm. No, that was the other one. Anyways, I'll come up with the name and I'll put it on the website. But you have the option to mix and mingle different sounds. Like you can put together the sound of thunder with the sound of like a rainy city street. With the sound of something else in the background, like some really low jazz or something like out on the street. You can put all these things together in your app and then go to sleep to that. That's what I've been doing. I used to go to sleep to audiobooks.
Yeah.
But I found myself going to sleep to the same one over and over because I like this woman's voice.
Right.
So I found this app, and you can make a different sound every night, and you can adjust the sounds of each individual sound, the volume of each sound. So you can have the jazz really, really low in the background, but have the thunder really big, just like it normally would be. It's a very cool app. So that's what I do as well. That's what helps me go to sleep.
Well, there's some great guided meditations on YouTube, ASMR videos, a lot of calming techniques of that. That's, to me, I mean, that saved my life here recently, just to get rid of some of the stress.
And I drink.
Well, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah. But I drink for a lot of different reasons, one of which is stress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to say one other thing, and I can't remember what it was, but we can shut everything down now.
Yeah, let's be done.
Before we shut it down, we got to talk about this beer that we have today.
All right, let's do that.
What was it again?
It is the Frozen Barrel Imperial Milk Stout, and that is canned by Southern Barrel Brewing Company. This is the Frozen Barrel.
Yeah.
It's good. It's not the same. It is the same beer that I had at the Porter here in Atlanta, but they had it on draft.
Okay.
And this is from a can, and I can tell a difference. I much prefer it by draft.
Yeah.
But it's pretty good. It's a little sweeter from the can.
That was my biggest complaint. It's too sweet for me.
Yeah.
My face is burning. It the 10% alcohol I can feel. I definitely can feel it. That may be a good thing. I don't know. But I think the taste of it is great. But as I've gotten through it, The sweet part has kind of
a little overwhelming.
Yeah, really got to me a little bit. So I can't handle the sweet as much, but I do like the taste. So maybe I'll go with a 3 on this one.
Okay.
And all from taste.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go. If this were a draft, it would be a 3.5.
Yeah.
From the can, I'll go with a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got what you're saying. The sweetness. Back off that and you got
Back off the sweetness.
Good taste, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, you might want to give it a try. Frozen Barrel Imperial Milk Stout.
Correct.
Is it a local brewery?
No, it's from South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Again, Southern Barrel Brewing Company in Bluffton, South Carolina.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us on This Epic Disaster, my friends. We got a lot of new people out there this week who started following us and listening to the podcast, and welcome. And hey, people, I just want to let you know, we do appreciate it when you interact with us. We would like for you to send us letters, suggestions on what you'd like to hear on the show.
Sure.
And we'll be happy to put it on, and we'll even read your name on the podcast. All you got to do is send it to thisepicdisaster@gmail.com. You can send us stuff on Facebook. We're on Facebook at This Epic Disaster, and we're also on Twitter. Just don't put that last E on Twitter. And then we're on Instagram. You can read some of our goofy stuff on Instagram.
We're there too, being goofy.
But we do like for you to interact. We do like your suggestions. We do want your summer playlist suggestions. Please send them to thisepicdisaster@gmail.com, because you got to be included. It can't just be us. It can't just be ours.
We also want to know what you want us to start our predictive text sentences with.
Yep, send those, and send us any kind of questions you have about sex problems. We are the sexperts here.
We're gonna be.
No,
we're the only sexperts here. That's for sure.
I know Sherry's more than I am, but I will throw in my opinion. But I think she's probably much better at it than I am.
Well, I've had more sex than you.
Probably. Yeah, so please do that. Every Monday, we're here.
Every Monday, we release.
Next week, I believe we have a special guest. I'm not going to, last time I said that, it didn't happen, so I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but I think we have something kind of cool. I think we have something cool coming up for next week.
All right.
This week, I'm not saying this week wasn't cool.
This week was very cool.
I liked it.
Me too.
I was happy with it. So come back next week and see if you like it even better.
All right. We'll talk to you then.
Goodbye.